Vesna, do you have something to share? Your travel is over. You are back at home.
Yes, I'm back, yes. And I actually spent 2 weeks with the newcomer, and it was kind of funny and kind of frustrating seeing how focused we are comparing to the people who do see you and kind of do read the books and listen to some Skypes and things like that, and yet most of their time they are just totally immersed in their personal businesses and not sharing. And actually, there is nothing people can share at the very beginning because they really need to take time to go through their own process. What I saw on that particular example, and I checked with the lady, is that she is the one who was with me in the way of truth for 5 years. I was like 7, she was 5. So we learned in particular about all those bodies like astral, emotion, whatever, those 5 bodies. We learned in specifics and we studied those, so very familiar with all those things. And yet, until that lady came and here and start singing New You, she all that knowledge didn't make any practical uh, influence, let's say, on her life. She didn't resolve any situations in her life, like her own accepted restrictions and things like that. And I saw, and she saw lately how the New You, she has been singing for a year now, occasionally, actually, not regularly. And some 30 years old situations start resolving. So we commented how all that knowledge we had for most people was just that theoretical knowledge, and they did not see any comparison with the real life and the new. And I'm more aware of it every day, and I recognize it more and more, how the new and all that it brings with, meaning the difference between the creation and all is, how it really bring so much kind of liberation or freedom, more moments of freedom into people's life, even if they do not grasp it fully or they are at the beginning. And I can see it not only with other people, but mostly with myself every day, actually, because I keep repeating, let life, I will let life show me what is real now, and that helps me facing everyday situations. And it is really wonderful how it works, and how much better I understand everything that goes on, and how how I can see actually at all levels and recognize what is going on. And now I understand how nobody can actually explain to anybody how to see the different life levels and uh, 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 the real universes and things like that. One needs to find its own trick or whatever. Thanks.
That was excellent, Vesna. Yes, you're a sweetheart. Yeah, it is. And that's because these other so-called paths, and I understand the way of truth came from Eck, and, I was there too, but I started a whole new position. What they did is they basically mimicked the knowledge, which is understandable because that's all they knew. And just like Darwin and Harold, they were appointed physically the master, but that's all they knew, and it shows, it demonstrates, and they don't have the real connection like we do to the real light, and that's what's taking place is because, and it's your heart too. It's your involvement. You decide the involvement, and you decide to step up, and so. Yes, you see it objectively in others. Oh yeah, they're singing the new you, they're reading the books. But is there intent there? A person that wants to get on with their life, get on with their journey, they're focused totally on that. Everything else, these are just things you do in your physical life. Sure, you go to the bathroom, you take a shower, you need to go out and eat once in a while, you go to the grocery store, you do these things, okay? But that's just things you do in the physical sense. Now all of a sudden, you're focused on a real life, which is waking up, and you do everything you can, and that's what I've done since day one. When in my physical sense, when I came into this, and I just studied, and I went out there again, nervousness or whatever. It wasn't about my feelings or if I was nervous or afraid. I surpassed that. I still did it, even though I was carrying that stuff with me, which I didn't like. But at the same time, it was very familiar to me, so I did, agree to carry the nervousness, but I still did it. You see? I still did what I did, created the classes, and I always went out there as much as I could to collect more people, etc. And it took a lot, and I was amazed at how it started to come together. And for the most part, didn't always come together from the people I talked to. All of a sudden, people would show up. It's funny, it kind of came around about. People would come into, maybe the X Center or something that I didn't know, and then all of a sudden they were referred to me because they lived in Huntington Beach, as an example. So they'd come to my class. I saw this in so many different ways. It came around about. But yeah, this is where each person goes at their own pace, and this is where, what we're doing, yes, you have this recognition on your own, and this is so cool, and I see what you're saying, and I see how you are. I can see you, and it's great. It's just wonderful to see how you are, because you're very focused on this, and that's really what it is. It's your intent, and it's how you focus. You take that intent, and then you make it your whole life. That's what it is. It's a real lifestyle. And how can you explain to others? It's like, well, yeah, you're doing the new you and you're reading the books, but it's more than just that. It's kind of like a soldier, talking to a soldier in the cafeteria. And he's eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He's went through the training, or he's going through the training, and you're talking to him. It's like, well, do you know there's a war on out there, and you're the only one sitting here in the cafeteria eating lunch while everybody else, they kind of skip their lunch because they don't have time because there's a war going on in a battle. Are you? It's like trying to give the hints to the person. Are you are you interested in becoming involved, or are you just going to sit there? Well, it's my lunch time. This is the schedule. I'm to eat lunch. And so. Again, yes, this is how these people are. And I'm not saying it's a battle out there, but things need to be done, and you're not always going to have lunch. You're not always going to, oh gee, every Thursday, I have my bridge card meeting with the girls, and I can't really miss that. But all of a sudden there's a presentation or there's a meeting on that night, like with us or something. But we can miss this, but we can't miss the bridge, you see. So again, this is where people demonstrate to themselves reality. And it doesn't even matter that they've studied for years and done the New session, because everything that they've done comes to the realization of, well, my bridge meeting is more important. Yeah, it all comes to that, doesn't it? Yeah, see, this is where the knowledge alone doesn't do it, but it's really the individual and really seeing themselves and recognizing, more so than things being glazed over or just commonplace, because life's a lot bigger. It is an awesome adventure once you really see it and recognize it. And, I see myself just wanting to strip myself of everything as much as I can, to be indifferent to everything that I'm doing, because again, that's the reality life is. It's more than the sun shining can ever be. And so, not to where I'm, all of a sudden it's commonplace with what I'm learning. It's like, oh, well, I know this and I know that, and I've had this experience. And yeah, and I can go out there and tell people that, and I can sound good, and I can, get people to agree with me and all this. And it all sounds good, doesn't it? Well, again, it's really looking at ourselves and how we are doing this, each moment. So it's not a criticism, or it's not a self-help program, but it's just merely really seeing what is real and what isn't. So again, it's wonderful to hear what you're saying, and how can you really tell others? And again, they're going to say, well, yeah, I do the new you and whatever, and I see that too, but there's a lot more to it. And most of the time, most of these people, they'll eventually fade away, because again, their personal life, and especially as they get older, they have routines that, and especially when a person says something like, well, I learned this from my mother, and this is what I've always done, and so these people are scary. So to me, I don't have time to even talk to them anymore. And respectfully, that's their life. But me, I'm on with my adventure. I'm on to, share the real guides, etc., and become more aware, because life's about awareness. It's not about settling in and feeling good about what your parents told you, or somebody else, or the world is telling you. And many of these people sit and watch TV, and it's like, oh, look, there's a rebellion going on here. Oh, look, the prime minister said we're leaving the EU and all this stuff. It's all baloney. It's all deception. And people think, oh, well, all of a sudden we're going to have more freedom and things are going to be better. Oh, you're in La La Land. There's no such thing. These are just situations, rotating in the physical sense here. That's all they're doing. You're just seeing rotation, and eventually it'll come around to the same thing again, the same suppression, the same irony, the same restrictions. They haven't left. They're just rotating is all they're doing. You're just seeing rotation here, but all of a sudden they're creating new marketing ploy, which is really old marketing ploy, but it looks new. Again, it's the old used car with a new paint job, but you really don't see the engine's just about dead. Etc. So again, yes, people make choices, don't they? And so the reality of what we're presenting, the true reality of it, cannot be seen. All we can do is hint at it, and even our hint doesn't even come close to what it really is. Yeah, it's so cool, isn't it? Yes, thank you so much, Vesna. You're wonderful.